Where I am now, better than before, through those open doors. Where I am now, where I am now, I'm in a special place, a tender warm embrace. Where I am now.
It's now time for the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. That's FYI Radio Show with your host, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. I'm Ed Everett, the co-host. The music that you hear in the background is none other than Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton, Where I Am Now. And if you'd like to see us live in WGPL 1350 studio, all you have to do is go to Edward Everett's Facebook page or Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton Facebook page. And guess what? You can see us live right here in WGPL 1350 studio. And if you want to hear us all over the globe, all you have to do is go to www.christianbroadcastingcompany.com or go to 1400 AM or 1350 AM. And guess what? You can hear us all over the globe. And now I want to introduce to some and present to others the host of the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton, and a pleasant good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. E. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Would you, could you, will you be my neighbor?
Let's welcome our neighbors, our WGPL 1350 AM listeners.
Peace 95.3 FM and WPCE 1400 AM.
Facebook Live is on and popping as usual, but we also want to welcome Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll shout you out later on in the show.
Like and share and comment and subscribe.
Do all that. Make sure you comment.
And we'll shout you out.
Yes, we will.
You know, Ms. Hinton, before we go a little further, I would like for all our listeners that we want to thank you so much for seeing us on the street to tell you thank you so much for tuning in to FYI. But if you go to Facebook Live, just hit us up. Let us know you're there.
Absolutely. Mr. E, what day is it today?
Today is Hump Day. That's what today is.
Okay. I was already woke, Miss E, but that one went to the joint in the marrow of the bone.
Just to get them up, today is midweek.
I tell you what, let's say good morning to Annie Miles sitting up here all early. She's right here with us, Mr. E, already, and I'm thankful for her. Oh, Mr. E.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad you said hump day like that because you know what? I thought it was Monday at one time.
No, you did?
We're here at Wednesday. You know, we were off on Monday, but today is Wednesday hump day. You all should be up and popping.
That's what they should be doing, Miss Hinton. They should be up, popping, and out and about. I want to say good morning to Miss Roberta Collar. Thank you so much. And Miss Ann Miles, thank you so much.
Yes, I'm back in the city, y'all, and I'm glad to be home. But anyway, Mr. E, we got to move on because we got talking about a topic. It's our Wednesday. Our segment is What's Under the Hat.
And that's what it's all about. What's under the hat? Issues dealing with men.
We have a very special guest on. His name is Caesar. And today the topic, Mr. E?
And today the topic is talking about
you are
not the daddy.
You are not the father.
Yeah.
Now that's a deep topic. I want you all to stay with us. As a matter of fact, don't forget to share, tell your friends that we're on, because we have someone up here. His name is Caesar,
That's
and
right.
he's going to talk to us about that time when he discovered that he was not the father.
Yeah.
Caesar, good morning. How you doing, Caesar?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you very much.
Now, Caesar, let me tell you the purpose of our Wednesday segment. You know, a lot of people say that men are without feelings, they're not emotional, they don't, verbalize too much, communicate, and they keep things in their head. You're not going to hear them talk about certain things. First of all, it's a sad thing when people say that men don't have emotions.
That's
And
right.
that's one thing, and that's one of the myths that we're trying to kind of knock out of the ballpark. We don't want to hear that anymore. We want people to know that men are, even though they are strong and they have a lot of ego, but they do have feelings. And we want to just ask you to share your story with us. The topic is you are not the father. And don't you know, when Mr. E and I discussed this topic, there were a lot of men that actually had this experience. Thank you so much for allowing us to hear your story.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So, well, I was 21 years old. That was almost 30 years ago. I was 21 and I was engaged, about to be married. Um, I had a child, which I thought was my first son. You know, I can't even words cannot even begin to describe how excited I was about having this son and marrying this woman, which was what I thought was the love of my life. And you know, it was my first time around the block in a whole lot of aspects. And after we got married, I pretty much started noticing things. You know, there was a lot of infidelity going on. And her attitude got really bad towards me, and she used my son heavily as a huge weapon in this fight. Basically, I was in the military at the time, and of course, you know, being in the Navy, you know, you're always gone. When the ship leaves, you're gone for weeks at a time, months at a time. And I would come back and find that, you know, there has been more instances of infidelity. Eventually, we ended up getting a divorce. Um, After getting divorced, I was slapped with child support, and of course, the military took me straight out. Over the course of 3 years, I paid up around $17,000 in child support. My mother told me, she said, "Son, that's not your child." And when she said that to me, it never crossed my mind that that could even be a thing. And as I started to contemplate, to start to process everything, I was like, well, if I'm going to be paying child support until this little boy is 18, I mean, not to mention, I skipped over the fact that whenever I went to visit my son, she made it almost impossible between her and her mother. It was almost impossible. All they wanted was my money.
Yeah.
I had to be supervised. Like I couldn't even hold him. They had to hold him while I just looked, and it was just ridiculous. So I went ahead and I contacted the Rose Laboratories, who doesn't exist anymore. But at that point, they were in Virginia Beach, and I paid them $1,200 to do a paternity test, and the test came back 0.0%. There was not a chance on this earth that I could have been the father. That wasn't even the worst of it. I mean, because by now I was kind of over it because I wasn't able to see him anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I really couldn't have any relationship with, with the child, which is no longer my son now. But the courts didn't care about anything. You signed a legal document, is what they told me. And I'm like, okay, well, she lied to me. She told me this was my child. Of course I signed the birth certificate. I was a proud father, but there's obviously, apparently, no recourse for a woman who basically lies and commits paternity fraud. She knew that wasn't my baby. And I was seemed like everyone around me, but everybody but me. So yeah, I was the fool in that scenario.
Caesar, what kind of emotions did it bring out when you discovered, when you saw that 0.00?
Okay, a plethora of emotions, relief at one point, anger, and just utter disgust at how someone could do that and have no conscience about another human being. Like it's like, and then dealing with the court system, it's like the men don't matter. It's all
Wow.
about women
Yes.
and separating women from men. That's the whole setup. To keep men out of the home, to keep the government taking care of the woman, and then keeping the men paying for it.
Yes.
When you begin to deal with the issues, the problem itself, and you found out that the child, that you was not the father, what words did you have? What did you do when you approached the mother to find out? Did you have any real bad emotional words, or was you ready to go off to the left, or what kind of emotions did you have?
Well, at this point, there was no more contact.
Wow.
The entire situation was set up by the attorney that I had to hire in order to even get this done. And so communicating through only my attorney, yes, the emotions were high. There were some choice words. I'm not sure exactly what they were, but I'm sure they weren't radio friendly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Caesar,
And
were you surprised though when you got that test back, that DNA test? Were you like, I knew it?
at that point, yes,
Wow. How
at that point
come?
I was.
How come?
Initially, wild horses couldn't drag me away from believing that I was, that was my son, and that was my
Wow.
legacy. Yeah, and that is something that is so important to me, that their legacy continues.
Yes.
That men and women are different in that respect because a man has he has the innate nature to continue on his legacy, to spread his seed,
Yes.
and therefore finding out that it wasn't. But the reason that I was about 90% sure that it was going to be negative at that point, because the infidelity was so
Oh yeah.
tremendous.
Hmm.
And so after seeing that many instances of infidelity, I mean, but when my mother told me that wasn't my son, that was all I needed.
Mm.
Why did your mother say that? I was very curious when you said that. Mothers, they have that,
Instinct, yeah.
instinct.
Oh,
Why did
yes.
she say that?
She took one look at him,
Oh my.
one look, and she said, "It's not your child."
Oh my.
I was expecting her to be, "Oh my God."
Yes.
She took one look and said, "That's not your child."
Mm.
Oh. Oh.
Now, when you
She was right.
now, how close was you to the child? How what kind of relationship that you build with that child at that time? Was you hugging the baby? Was you holding the baby? Was you rocking the baby at night? When what you just saying, Daddy's little boy, Daddy loved you so much. How close have you had gotten with the child?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because of course, I was on cloud 9 and gave him my name. His name is
Wow.
actually Junior, so he's named after me, but came from another man. But the only thing of any real significance that I was able to pass on to him, I taught him how to hold his bottle.
Mm.
Yes.
I mean, the mother and the grandmother, they always grab him and shove it in his mouth. But I would tickle his little hands and he would reach up and grab the bottle. And eventually, after about a few weeks of doing that, he was holding it all on his own.
Wow.
I wasn't just propping it up in his mouth. I want him to hold that bottle. And by the time he hadn't even started walking yet by the time we got out of divorce.
Oh, wow.
So,
So, Caesar, it says that of all the possible fathers who take a paternity test, about 32% are not the biological father. And they said this is about a third of men who just happen to take the test. Not all men in general. I can imagine the number then. But are you surprised at the statistics?
Well, actually, I'm aware of that statistic because I've actually been somewhat of an advocate for men and men's rights, over the years because this thing gets so near and dear to me, and I see it happening so much.
Wow.
So over the course of this time, I have been privy to that information.
Tell us a
And
little bit more about your advocacy. Tell us why. We know why, but tell us some of the things that you do to share your story or get with other men to talk about it.
yeah, I encourage other men to not be so quick to just believe a woman. And I
Ooh,
know that
yeah.
sounds really bad, but at the end of the day, the woman absolutely unequivocally knows that it is her child. But
Yes.
what man actually knows that? I mean, you have some of the most innocent, seemingly innocent women
Yeah.
who are literally lying to your face. I've had women lie to my face with the most sincere expression and emotion. I mean, there are men who have gone on to kill other men behind a woman's lie. It's all
Yeah.
kind of things like that. So I just try to raise awareness among men. Not to just be skeptical of everything, but just don't be stupid.
Yes.
You use your logic. Logic is very, very, very important because if it doesn't make sense, then it's probably something you need to look into deeper.
I want to ask a question. Mr. E has one too, but it makes a lot of sense, and I agree with you that men really need to watch for certain things like that. But I also, in my mind, Caesar, think about when a woman gets pregnant, and sometimes a woman can feel some kind of way when immediately a man says, "It ain't mine." uh that it's like, on one hand a man has to go through so much, but on the other hand a man can quickly say that as well. I was thinking about Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy, when his girl told him that you're having a baby, well, it ain't mine. So, and then she had to do the DNA test. So tell us how you feel about those words.
I think that is horrible. That is a horrible thing for a man to do to a woman. I mean, just off the list, it ain't mine. Now that's the wrong way to approach it. If there are some doubts, okay, that's fine. If you continue your relationship with your woman, but more importantly, just encourage honesty between the two. And by the
Yes.
time the child is born, you can always have a DNA test, which I feel should be mandatory.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't care if you're married, not married. I don't care. When a child is born, a DNA test should be done. It doesn't hurt
Yeah.
anybody. It takes a few minutes, and that way. But see, if the government allows for this or mandated such a thing like child like automatic like mandatory paternity test, if they did that, then that would leave so much money out there.
Yes.
What you gave me a statistic about a third of the men who have paternity tests are not the father, but there's another important statistic, very important statistic, that when a woman names a man as the father in
Yeah.
order to get government support, when she gets child support, the federal government reimburses the state 66% of that.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's billions and billions of dollars made on child support when a woman all she has to do is write a man's name down on a piece of paper.
Wow.
Wow.
That is
I'm
amazing.
blowed out the water, Caesar. I'm so blowed out the water. I want to say thank you so very, very much for you being a special guest talking about that.
Mhm.
Do you still carry the hurt around with you now, or when you see babies, do you have flashbacks and do you have emotions when it happened to you? Did you want to go somewhere and cry and just boo-hoo and just let it out because you didn't think that it would happen to you?
Well, I went through all of that 30 years ago, but at this point, it's more, I take more of a position of, and I guess for lack of a better word, power or
Yes.
empowerment.
Mm.
So I'd rather see a man stand up and take control of a situation and do something about it rather than to go in a corner and cry about it.
Yes. Caesar, tell us how other men in this situation, what they tell you, what they feel. I'm sure that you can relate to, the emotions and things. But what do you all discuss, those that have gone through this as well?
Everything from murder to suicide.
Really?
You're angry enough to murder somebody, but hurt enough to kill yourself.
Oh my goodness. So it runs deep. So I can imagine now in your situation, you didn't get a chance to totally bond, and you knew that, there was a distance that they kept between you and that child. But I can imagine men having those feelings of suicide and murder, especially if they have bonded for years and they have invested so much into the relationship and they know that child is theirs. Could that be a difference?
Oh, absolutely. It's absolutely a difference. I mean, no one can really pinpoint how deeply it hits home for each individual person. We're all individuals and we're all different. A while back, I made a decision to be a certain way about certain things. That way, the hurt didn't consume me. So, in order for me to get over that, I had to really just become, for one, a realist. And that has changed my entire life. When I look at things, I see black and white, I see no gray. But that's just a very small percentage of men. And I'd be willing to say within maybe 5 to 10% of men. The other 90 to 95%
Yes.
will be consumed by those emotions, and that's how women play these games with men. And some of them literally sit back and laugh amongst themselves about how well they played this man, not realizing that it totally affects him. And my life would be completely different right now if it weren't for that one lie when I was 21.
Yes. Can you tell us how your mother felt about this situation? I mean, even though she was like, this is not yours, I can imagine the emotion of finding out it's not, but also feeling for you, the pain that you were going through. Tell me about your mom.
My mother was in ICU when I brought my supposed son to see her. And from her hospital bed, she immediately told me that. But my mother was such a straight shooter. I mean, she would tell it like it is, no sugarcoating, no nothing. She didn't know the child. She only knew me. And when she saw him, she, out of her love and care for me, immediately told me what I needed to know to take care of that situation before it got any further. However, I was still blinded by the things I was being blinded by. And in my mind, you know how you are when you're that age. Your parents can't tell you anything. Nobody can tell you anything. And I was blinded by love and adoration for this woman and this child. And I just thought, well, my mom is sick and maybe she's just not seeing things clearly. But she was clear as a bell.
Yeah, yeah. Did you ever continue to have a relationship with the lady after that, after you done went through, or do you still keep in contact with her?
Not a word.
That's it.
Now, when the military, by being in the military, their sailors, they're out there, army, they're out there fighting a war, or in the military trying to better themselves. And there have been horror stories about people that's in the military having babies that's not really their child. Did you ever get that opportunity to say to any of your bros that was in your or in the military along with you, or any of the men, look, be very, very careful and how to recognize when someone is playing you?
Absolutely. And there's a twofold answer to this if I do have time.
Go ahead.
When I went on my first deployment, and as we left the port of Norfolk, right there in OB, Norfolk Naval Base, we left on a ship and we went east, 6 time zones away. And as soon as we landed, there were guys running out to the places to go see other women. And I'm looking at them all crazy, like, wait a minute, aren't you married? And they laughed at me. They said, man, you stupid. You don't know what your wife's doing at home. Now, and I'm like, oh no, not my wife. Oh no, what we have is special. I would never do anything like that. And she wouldn't either. They just laughed and they went on and they paid their money to do what they needed to do, and then they came home like nothing was done.
Oh wow.
But of course, when I was over there, by the time I was leaving the front door, my wife had somebody coming in the back.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
and it wasn't until I actually set her up Because after a while, after realizing all that had happened, I set her up. I told a lie to her. I said, my sister's getting ready to leave. I'll be leaving at about 5 in the morning, and I'll be gone for 3 weeks. So I took her a nice dinner, cleaned the house from front to back, made everything beautiful. And I left at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I intentionally left my boots in the room.
Wow.
So I waited. I didn't even wait a whole hour, and I came back to the house to get my boots. I put my key in the door, and then the chain was hooked.
Oh,
And that was something that we never did. We always said amongst ourselves, it's stupid to put the chain on, and if anybody pushes it, it's going to break anyway. So you just tear the door up. So I put my lock in, and the chain was hooked. I took a hanger, and I reached in and fished the chain off the hook. And by the time I got in the door, she was standing there in the hallway in just a t-shirt.
oh,
And she says, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Oh, I left my boots. I need to get my boots." But at this time, I had already had a tape recorder in my pocket on record. So I recorded everything that happened from the time I entered that door. At this point, I already knew she was unfaithful. I just didn't think that it would be, it's like the God was waiting for me to leave so he could come right in. So we went over the whole house, checked everywhere but the bedroom. And when we finally go in the bedroom, this guy is sitting on my bed. Of course, he was silent the whole time. He kept looking down. He never looked at me. He never said anything to me or her. And I looked at her. I was like, "Who is this?" So long story short, all that came out, and I got it all on tape. But a lot of men don't have the wherewithal to do that. Somebody could have died.
yes, absolutely.
Right.
That's the truth. Tell us, did you still have to pay child support for 18 years?
Yes. There was no getting out of that.
Here's another question. Here's another question that what our listeners want to know. Did you change the last name?
No.
So the son is still walking around being a junior, with your name as a junior. I wonder would she ever tell him later on down the road who about you?
Well, I guess that's just a matter of whether she, I think only the Holy Spirit can convert her to tell the truth.
Absolutely.
A lot of people will take a lie all the way to the grave.
Mm.
Yes.
And basically, I'm sure amidst those lies will be the lies that your father is nothing. Your father is nothing. You left us. How many children have been told that their father is nothing when at the reality, when at the nucleus of this situation, that's not the case. The case was the two of them did not get along to the point to where the father wasn't even allowed. And as in my case, I wasn't even allowed to be a part of my son's life without her and her mother right there in my face. I wasn't about to do all that.
Caesar.
I couldn't even hold him.
They knew, and her sounds like her mother knew as well that you were not the father. It's crazy. Caesar, give advice to men who just found out they're not the father. I can imagine the pain and the agony that they're going through. But please, we got about 1 minute. Can you share with them, some things that they can do to get through?
Absolutely. First and foremost, separate yourself from the situation. Go somewhere and allow yourself to think. Talk to someone, preferably someone who is a godly person, who can really just be objective. Just speak. You have to get it out, but speak to someone who can be objective, and then therefore, going forward, just take the necessary steps to resolve the situation. But do not act out of an emotional, out of a heightened emotional state, because that's when people get hurt, and then that's permanent damage. You don't want to do that.
One last question before we take off. Do you still put the label on every woman?
Yeah, how can you keep from being suspicious? Like, okay.
I have absolutely never labeled all women or all men, for that matter, saying everyone is an individual. I just encourage men to be absolutely careful, because the majority of women are not honest, as are men. We're living in a world where lies are considered true and truth are considered lies. So I would just encourage that.
Yes.
The other thing about the military is, all marriages that end in divorce.
Yes.
The highest percent of those marriages end in divorce are in the military, and amongst the military, the highest are in the Navy.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. Caesar, thank you so much for sharing your
Thank you,
story
sir.
and much success in your life. May God bless you and you enjoy your day.
And thank you for having me. God bless you.
I tell you what, come on over here. We're going to talk about this a little bit more. And you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. It's beautiful here in the Hampton Roads area, and we want you all to just enjoy. God bless you. See you on Fun Friday. Before, through those open doors, where I am now.
For the past 30 minutes, you've been listening to FYI Radio Show with your host, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. I'm Ed Everett, the co-host. Our special guest has been Caesar. You are not the father. Don't forget to join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9:30 to 10, right here on WPCE 1400, WGPL 1350, and 95.3. Have a wonderful, wonderful hump day.
Wow, I tell you what, that's something you got to sit back and kind of like get your tea and kind of like, woo, Mr. E, I cannot even imagine what that would feel like.
Miss Hinton, when we talk about that, when we listen to stories of that nature and how men feel about they're not the father of a child, especially a baby, a newborn baby. All men wants their children. All men wants a child.
Yes.
Every man you turn to wants a child. And so when a man wants a child, the thing that what happens is he don't want, and he get excited. And then there are some that says, okay, that's not my child. But then there are some that wants a child, and because they want a child, and then somebody get pregnant by them, the first thing they want to do is claim, that's my boy, that's my baby.
Yes.
But the heartbreak in this thing, Miss Hinton, is when you holding that child, feeding that child, changing that baby's diaper, and then find out later on you're not the father. That's devastating.
Ladies, I want to know your opinion on the statement that women are dishonest. And I want you to also think about, how people feel. First of all, I want to know what you think about that. And then do you all know anybody that has done that? And I know a few people that have fooled men, and it came out in the long run though, but hey, they have, been dishonest, and they have, said it was yours. No goodness well, it won't let the man go. No goodness well. And so, some of them have gone to the grave with the lie.
That's right. Miss Annie Miles says, yes, they are. To the question, women are dishonest. They are dishonest, because, when you look at what done happened to a lot of men, and how folks are using their children as bullets in a gun, to go up against that man, to warn him off, or to say things of that matter, that nature. You're not that. This is not your child. Miss Hinton, when you want to put your child up for an adoption because they don't want you to have the child, they'd rather for somebody else to have the child. These are some of the things that hurts a man down the road. That what hurts a person down the road. Now, and then when they look around, the insecurity falls upon them, because if one did it, and that's dramatic, is so devastating, because one, like he said, you either want to commit murder or you want to commit suicide. You really want to do bodily harm to that woman. Are you really ready to kill yourself? Because you done been hoodwinked, you done been tricked. That's far greater than what we can call hoodwink. Now you got to walk around. There's a young man walking around with somebody's last name. It's called a junior, and he's a junior carrying that last name. And really, he's not your father. He's not the son.
I like the way he handled this.
Well, I can imagine.
And I mean, I don't think, and listening to him tell us about other people, I don't think a lot of folk would have, a lot of men can handle it like that. And I'm not saying men don't handle it but I'm just saying I really like the way he handled it. He first of all talked about uh, a lawyer.
That's right.
He had a lawyer,
and still didn't.
and he picked up on clues.
Right.
Red flags were going up. Wait a minute, why can't I hold my child? Wait a minute, why y'all so protective? And that's not the first story I've heard about mother-in-laws being in on it, and kind of like trying to keep that lie going, trying to keep that child from being touched by that man or looked at, or the other side of the family being able to see that child and look at that child. This is not the first time I've heard it. And so look, Ann said, look at the ones that are killing the mom and or the child, like that Navy.
Like the
somebody
guy in the
did it
Navy.
last week.
Yeah.
Is that what happened? Wow, that is amazing. But
I did it for 13 years.
Wow.
Miss Hinton, and here's the clue. I like he said he picked up on it. He picked up on it. I believe this. When you pick up on clues like that,
yes,
when you pick up on clues and you go to somebody and first you talk with them and say, listen, there's some issues that I'm dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
They know from the point that you're catching on to something that's not right. But yet and still, they will make you feel like you are just the wrong person. You the one. Until you get it and realize, look what he said he did. He picked up on it and he pretended that he had to go out of town.
Oh, that was good too.
And then when he pretended that he had to go out of town, he came back home and the chain lock was on the door.
That quick.
Just that quick. And all he did was forget his boots, haven't got to the base yet, wasn't gone, but not even an hour. And I guess the cat was waiting right round the corner and for him to leave. Because the thing about it, he had already told him, and you'd be surprised what they had to deal with. She already had it set up. For one,
I mean, wow.
She already had it set up for one. When you look at it, she had it already set up for this gentleman to come in the house.
He'll be gone about 3 or 5.
Yeah, and
you can come on over, honey.
And had it set up.
Now,
and when he had it set up, and like he said, they got that innocent look. And because they got that innocent look, that innocent feeling, and they would say, oh no. But here's a great clue. They never put the chain lock when one is out.
Say that again.
They never put the lock on the door
or
lock the screen door when one is out. They never did that. Then all of a sudden, he comes home and the door chain lock is on the door.
Yes.
And then the thing that got me so much, clues. She come downstairs, greeted him with a t-shirt on.
Ready.
And want to know what you doing back.
Oh, yeah. Did you hear the way he said that? She was like, what you here? Why you here?
Why do that has to happen of that nature? What you do? I live here. If I could be able to come in my house and turn the key anytime I want to, I don't have to give no explanation or tell nobody I'm on the way home. There were some men that I knew, Miss Hinton, called home first to let them know he's on his way home because he didn't want to walk into no.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. There were some men today that are called home first that say, I'm on my way home.
Why in the world would you
but you don't have to call home. You just, you shouldn't have to.
Yes.
Just going on home. And when he went home, the door was locked. She's standing in the t-shirt. And then he said he searched all over the house and couldn't find but the bedroom. And there the guy was sitting on the bed. If that ain't what Ann says, murder she wrote.
Murder he wrote.
But what do? You walk in the house
and there's somebody sitting on your bed.
And there's a woman in the house or there's a man in your house. What do? Do you turn around and walk out? Do you turn around and fight? Do you turn around? What do you do?
But let's talk about this part, Mr. E, because even when we talked about child custody and child support, we heard how unfair the courts are.
Yeah, yeah.
He says he goes to the court and he says, this woman has betrayed me. And the court said, we don't give a darn. Let's see.
Go ahead.
Said, we don't give a darn. What is going on? You gonna pay the child support. Did you hear him say 18 years?
18 years.
He had to pay the price of not being the father, actually. He had to pay the price of not being the father. You would have thought the courts would have said, what? Look, child support,
gone.
Yeah. You don't have to pay another dime.
That's right.
But they said, since you went ahead and signed that this was your child and you are in a relationship married to this woman, he's yours. You may not be the father, but the bill is yours.
That's right. But see,
it's your bill.
But the thing, there's a lot of men that's being falsely accused of paying child support. There's a lot of folks that's out there. Like he said, the judge don't care whether it's in state or out of state. I seen times where there was an out of state claim, but it's supposed to be an interstate claim. But because it's supposed to be right here in the state. But when the person moves out of state, that makes it an out of state claim. But there are people still living out of state with an interstate claim.
Wow.
They got an address or mailbox that they send it to a close friend that they send their checks to, and then the check and the friend send the check to that person.
Wow.
But that was the days of old when the mail was coming. But now things go direct deposit. You ain't got no paper trail.
So,
yes. But when this stuff happens, and because they had it happen to them, I figure that some men gotta let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
Absolutely.
Let it go, because all
what
that
do you mean?
do is
let
make
it go.
You sick.
Well,
make
let it go.
Sick.
Well, when the courts decide, and there's nothing you can do about it, you let it go. And I think that's what he did. He was like, hey, this is something that I have to do for 18 years.
Pay for somebody
my hand is
child.
not no relationship with the woman, no relationship with the child. But I just can imagine that was one of the hardest lessons. But I tell you what, too, him as an advocate, he can make a great advocate, because he can tell other men, look, these are the things that you should look for. These are the red flags. These are the things that might happen. Don't kill yourself. Don't commit suicide, but handle it as a man. He said empowerment. He used that word empowerment, Mr. E.
That's right.
And he was like, look, I'm not going to sit back and lick my wounds. I'm going to empower myself. And that's what he's done. He's become an advocate. And he's saying, hey, we can get through anything. And men, you can get through this too, because there are women in this situation, in situations like these, that are very dishonest, and you better know it. You better know it.
But do you take that kind of attitude and find out that because one did it, that everybody got them traits?
Everybody is not going to do it. But I'm saying,
like sometimes folk will feel that because that one was dishonest, then everybody that I come in contact with, I'm going to have my barrier up. I'm going to have my guard. I see similarity. I see similar traits to it. And when I see that happen to me the first time, then I see it, like it look like it's about to reform again, and then they go off.
I think when a man is getting red flags and stuff, that's one thing. I don't think that a man, when he gets a woman pregnant, should go to the point. And I just saw this on TV, where you go to the point where you question it, you take the woman through hell because of your suspicions or somebody in your ear, and it causes a lot of chaos, and it breaks down a relationship. And so I think men have to be very careful when they, they deny, oh, that's not mine, or is it mine. They be very careful, even though the statistics tell you that it happens, and the statistics are not small statistics. But I'm just saying, please be careful the way you do that, because not only can you destroy a relationship with the woman, you can hurt a relationship with a child, questioning, oh, is it mine? And if it can be yours, but like I said, you all you got to do is do what the man said. Get a DNA test.
He said,
Everybody just get one. Just say, okay, look, let's make sure that you never know. Maybe it was an egg and a sperm in there from 5 years ago. Hey, just tucked away. Hey, just I don't know. Ain't no such thing. But I'm just saying, if you have that type of relationship with a woman where you can do that, do it. But you got to be careful.
That's right.
It could really destroy a relationship. You questioning, is that mine? Wait a minute, what you talking about? That's mine. We've been together for 5 years, laying up. Is it yours?
And and he said something that was so clear, and I agree. Because they're doing it all over. They're doing it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that they should have DNAs from the beginning.
Well, I think especially with single, especially single people,
Yeah.
I think that's in Virginia it's mandatory anyway. In Virginia, you got to have that test because in Virginia, I believe, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, that you have to get custody of your child.
You have to sign.
You have to sign custody,
right.
Because the state is actually the guardian of that child when it's born.
Right.
When
Once
you're born
it's
to a single person, so the DNA test has to be done. And mom says DNA all day, even before you leave the hospital.
Well,
that would be good.
Both parents has to make that decision.
Yes.
To sign the birth certificates before the baby leave the hospital, because you're right in the sentence.
Yes.
The baby belongs to the state.
That's right, in Virginia, yes it does.
In the state of Virginia, the baby belongs to the state. So now, before you leave the hospital, you got to sign the birth certificates, or that you're going to take care of this child.
Yes.
And then when you go to the court, you get 50-50, half, however you work it out. But if you don't want your name, don't sign the paperwork. If you're not sure that's your baby, talk to your mate,
mm-hmm.
Talk to the person, say, look, let's do a DNA before we leave, because I'm not sure
mm-hmm.
that this is my child, because we had some incidents that happened during our relationship.
Yeah, I tell you what, women, we got to talk what's in the closet, because you all been keeping secrets. And so we want to, call women out, but we want to discuss the fact that women do that. Women have been dishonest and blaming. Fear may be a factor, or just wanting to catch a man in something, or just wanting somebody to take care of your child. It's all kind of reasons why women do that. And then sometimes women don't know. They've been with this cat over here, and then they've been with him, and they think, well, I've been with him more. Been laying up with him more. And he let it be his
job. Yeah.
But I tell you what, we're gonna put the brakes on the subject, because we have a guest next week who's actually gonna come, who is not the pappy.
That's right. That next week it's going to be another gentleman. And Maya said the lies women tell. The lies women tell.
I mean, they cause some terrible heartache. But next week we're going to come back with You Are Not the Pappy.
Not the father.
You're not the father. Yeah, so, I'm glad that we can find out what's under the hat in the mind of a man.
That's right.
He has emotions and feelings. And I'm telling you, it's heartbreaking that he has to go through this. And he said that some women just go away laughing like that. I didn't got that all day, sucker. I got him. So we're going to talk more about that. You all make sure you tune in next week on our Wednesday segment, and we'll have someone else to talk about the history of their journey and stuff like that. Mr. E, we have upcoming show.
That's right.
What's going on?
On sports, on this Friday, we got Miss.
We have Miss Teresa Colongo. Looking forward to that. She's talking about autism, and it's something that I don't know a lot about, Mr. E, but she's going to share information, her organization, and her experience. And so you all please tune in on Fun Friday.
And then we got Mr. Roland Fuller. I want to let you know that football season starting real soon.
Ooh.
And Mr. Roland Fuller is a Dallas Cowboy fan. He's going to give us play-by-play of the game, game that comes on the 13th. He's letting us know the pros and the cons of what's happening in Dallas. And then after that, we have Mr. Marge Sean. That's going to be our special guest on Wednesday. And then we got Miss Deborah Harris going to be with us, and a host of others going to be with us.
Sherry Johnson is
Miss Sherry Johnson will be our special guest.
Yes.
So just get ready. Just get ready for awesome tests. Now, I feel like this, Miss Hinton, that if you feel like you want to have an open forum with Miss Hinton and I in some of the shows that we had, and voice your opinion about You're Not the Father. So, so that we can hear what you feel, how you feel about it. Inbox us and let us know how you feel about it. Because what we are trying to do here is trying to help men. I get so sick and tired of seeing men standing on the corner drinking their life away because they've been hurt. They're hiding, they're killing themselves because they're covering up what's really ailing them. They're hiding behind something, and we look at it as mental illness, or he can't get a job, he's going to jail because he did this. It's a reason behind the man. It's a reason why men, and I can speak for men. It's a reason why men, the sentence, is constantly acting out of character. They don't have to fight. They don't have to cut nobody. They don't have to rob nobody. They come from good, fine, upstanding families and homes. But why is this brother taking it to the next level of being a druggie? What caused him to go down that road of drinking that liquor and looking real bad, and he's only 25 years old? Why is he acting like he's out of it?
It's a reason. It's what's under the hat.
Reason. So we try to uncover the reason.
Absolutely. So you all continue to stay tuned to our shows, and we'll give you more of who's going to be on. We have some great guests coming on this month, next month, and beyond. And so Mr. E is going to also tell you how you can be a special guest if you're interested in being on FYI Radio Show. Look, don't forget to follow us on social media. Don't let our numbers just stall. We need you all to tell people about who we are, what we do, and go to all social media platforms and Google Edward Everett or Yolanda Hinton, and help us to get our numbers up. Also, don't forget the anti-bullying Save the Date, October the 15th. We already have means of you all registering online, registering your kids. Also, we'll have the flyer out and information where it's going to be, what time, and what's going to be happening on October the 15th, 11 o'clock in Chesapeake, Virginia. So save the date. We'll also be on Mondays with a podcast talking about our anti-bullying initiative. If you all want to be a special guest on that, you all let us know too. You want to talk about bullying, we can pull you in. Just let us know that you're interested in being on our platform to talk about the things that are happening in our schools and anywhere where people are, there's bullying. Also, Mr. E, the petition is still online and it has stalled on 107. Now, you all come on here.
That's right.
You all help us out and get those numbers up. We're looking to go to 200. I'm determined now. I am not going to stop. We have to get to 200. And so we want to expand our platform, our message. It's a lot to do. And
That's
so
right.
We want you all to be there for us with that. The Ladies Pies is going to be launching close to the holidays. The book is online. Bullying is right underneath your nose. It's in English. It's in Spanish. It's on my page. It's on the website, crystalrecords.com. You can Google it. It will come up. And you all be sure to just please support and get that book for your family.
I want to pause and rewind again this sentence because on the other day last week, there was 5 people who got shot on Kellam Avenue by Old Dominion. It was bullies who did that.
Oh my goodness.
They said they was jumping folk in the game. It was bullies who did that. Listen, it's a known fact. they can legalize and put markings and go to the Second Amendment buy guns for guns, but these are ghost guns that are out there. These are guns that don't have any markings on them whatsoever. So listen, let's get out there in the community, sign the petition, and let's do something about it.
Absolutely, Mr. E. It is horrendous out there. And then kids are back in school. And I'm telling you, wherever children are and wherever people are, like I said, even on the roads, there's bullying. Let's make it hard for bullies to cut up. Let's make it hard for them to do that. Let's make it easy for victims to speak out. Let's give solutions to the schools and other institutions to give skills to bullies so they can be better people. My God, you all just don't, I don't know if you all understand what's going on, but it's a terrible mess. You're talking about suicide and other things, honey. That stuff takes place in with our youth as well. Also, let's see. Special events. We can host special events, special occasions. We just had a special event come in for Gig Salad. Mr. E, you got to go on Gig Salad and see if it's something that you're interested in. But if you all are interested in having us, you can go to Gig Salad, Mr. E, the lady and Mr. E, and you can put in for your special event, special occasion that you want us to come and host your show. Host your whatever special occasion it is. You can go to Gig Salad, or you can call. Mr. E's going to give you information on how you can be a special guest, how you can be intern or sponsor, or if you want us to come for your special event. Mr. E, it's been a wonderful, wonderful topic. Thank you so much for all that you do. Mr. E's getting ready to give us the contact information for FYI Radio Show.
If you'd like to be a special guest or sponsor FYI Radio Show, all you have to do is give us a call at 757-714-7861, or you can inbox us at FYI Facebook page, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton's Facebook page, or Edward Everett's Facebook page, or you can go to FYI Radio Show Live at gmail.com and inbox us and let us know that you like to sponsor FYI, that you like to be an intern, or you like to be a special guest on our show. Just let us know, and so we can pull you in and find out what's going on with you. Our special guest today has been none other than Caesar. Listen, don't forget, if you see someone that's going through and you want to know, understand why, some of the reasons why that they're going through is because of they have been hoodwinked, they have been hurt. Some kid out there is carrying this man's name, and he don't have an opportunity to get to be with that gentleman. Absolutely. So hey, put a smile on your face. Absolutely. Have a wonderful day. It's hump day.
Yes, and don't forget, if you all want to volunteer for our anti-bullying rally, please let me know. Drop it in our DM that you want to volunteer and help out. We need hands, and we need smart people like you all to be a part of what we're doing. So be blessed. We'll see you back here on Fun Friday.
2 up, 2 down, VA.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye now.